You owe it to yourself to stop playing small, to stop waiting, and to stop shrinking for people who were never meant to see your light anyway. Since when did you abandon yourself just to be accepted? Since when did you call your intuition overthinking? If you don't choose you now, you will keep watching life pass by and you will call it divine timing, when really it was all just fear. So you're not stuck, you're just scared to act on what you already know. If you clicked on this video, maybe you're just tired of surviving, tired of shrinking, tired of waiting. Maybe you've been living on autopilot and you don't even know what alignment feels like anymore. You're scrolling, searching for something, not even knowing what. Let me offer you this. What if you're not behind? What if you're not lost? But what if you're just out of sync with your truth? What if all the overthinking is just fear dressed up as logic? What if the question isn't how do I start? But what am I avoiding by not starting? You don't need another plan. You're an overthinker. You just need presence. You just need to trust your intuition. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. Because the future you're craving is hiding behind the action you are avoiding. I didn't grow up by saying I want to become a speaker. I didn't see myself as someone with a message. I was just trying to make it through the day. I was working in my recruitment job, living by the rules everyone was expecting from me. I was hustling for my worth until I burned out fully. And during that time, when everything collapsed, I would go on walks every day. I didn't know why or what I was doing. I just knew I had to move to get out of my head. And on those walks, I found myself speaking to the air, to God, to no one, and to everyone. I'd imagine myself on a stage, not for fame, but because something inside of me needed to be voiced. I wasn't trying to become someone. I was trying to find myself again. And sometimes your purpose finds you when you finally stop pretending you don't have one and you just act on the intuitive feeling that comes up. So looking back, I realize now those moments were not random. They were my higher self showing me snippets of who I really am. And I see in hindsight that I wasn't pretending. I was just remembering in the darkest days of my life. And I started doing therapy, coaching, inner child work, hypnosis, everything that could peel back all the layers. And in one session, I remember it so well. And that was like when I really fell in love with hypnosis. The words came out of me, not even knowing why I said that, but I said, I'm a speaker, I'm a truth seeker. And in that moment, I still didn't understand why. But like when I look back to the breadcrumbs, I was speaking during my walks, I was saying these things during hypnosis, and I was performing in front of my parents. And later when I look back, it was like I was just being me more and more because I was peeling off what I was not to show who I was and still am. So when I said I'm a speaker, I'm a truth seeker, I didn't say it to impress anyone or myself. It was a voice in me, within me, that was revealing itself. And I'm sure you've had those whispers too. Moments where something inside of you clicked, not because you were told, but because you just knew. And that knowing is what this entire life is about. The voice you keep hearing is not your imagination. It is an invitation. And I just hope that I will inspire you right now to follow that. Okay, so we are taught that purpose is something you find. But purpose isn't something to be discovered. It's something to remember. You were born with it. You signed into it before incarnating in this world, but you just forgot. Because the world asks you to be realistic, to stay small, to survive instead of shine. But your soul remembers. And if you're here in this video, there is something your soul wants you to know. So again, your soul remembers. Every time you light up helping someone, every time you feel most like you doing that one thing, That's not a coincidence. That is divine alignment. You've never been confused. You've just been conditioned and you're overthinking everything. And that blocks the flow. And now, and because you're here, you're finally waking up to your truth. I promise, because otherwise you wouldn't be here. So you're not lost. You're just aligned with the version of you that forgot. And we're going to realign that. You're going to align yourself with the one who will find her truth, who is finding her or his truth, okay? So there came a moment in my life when I stopped asking God to fix everything. Instead, I started asking the questions Gabby Bernstein shared. She really helped me through my darkest times as well. And I remember when I was asking these questions to myself, like, what is my purpose? Why am I here? And what's the meaning of everything? I saw a post of Gabby Bernstein, and it was like a coincidence that I saw that. It was exactly what I needed to see. And that it was like asking the right thing to God. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? And to whom? And I started to ask these questions every day to God. And I know also as an NLP coach, but also as the mystical magic in life, I knew the answer will be shown to me as long as I asked the right questions. So this is what I started to do. Start doing this as well, because this is really the first step to align back to your truth. This question changed everything. It wasn't about me anymore. It was about alignment. It was about service. And when I started showing up for my purpose, even without results, God showed up for me again and again. Even when money was tight, even when people didn't really understand what I was doing, the moment I stepped into alignment, the moment I stepped into my truth, with this is so important for me and I don't know why, life began to provide effortlessly, pricelessly, faithfully. And that's not a promise, it's a law. I'm experiencing this every day where my head is still like, how am I going to survive? How am I going to do this? My reality, when I look back in hindsight, shows me that I'm always protected and guided and life is providing. And then I just realized it's just the way I am conditioned. It is the part of me that doesn't really trust. But when I connect to my heart, I do trust. And I guide myself every day back to that trust. And I show up for my dreams, like recording this video, because it takes action. It needs action. So you just have to walk first. It's not the hustle that brings results. It's alignment that will open doors. So let's ground everything right now, right here. So close your eyes, place one hand on your heart and one on your belly, and take a deep breath in. And now ask yourself, when did I stop trusting myself? Feel the moment in your life when you first silenced your truth. Feel where this lives in your body. And now whisper to yourself, I remember who I am. I forgive myself for forgetting. And I choose to walk in truth starting today. How does this feel? Where do you feel this in your body? Just feel. And now we anchored your truth. We activated your truth in your body. And everything is energy. And you will come back to this video where you're like, this video changed everything for me. So the message of everything is, you don't have to become someone else. You just need to remember who you already are. And your higher self is always speaking to you. Your higher self isn't something out there. It's here now in this very moment. She or he has been speaking through your passions, your excitement, but you've been brushing it off, calling it overreaction, being delusional. What if it is not? What if all this time you weren't waiting for a sign, but you were waiting on you? And I hope with this video, I will activate that within you. Because this is your invitation to start walking like the version of you that already knows. To stop shrinking to fit in rooms you've outgrown. To stop editing the truth because it makes others uncomfortable. You were never here to blend in. You were born to blaze a trail. Not because it's easy, but because it's yours. You don't chase alignment, you remember it. So let me remind you of who you are. You are not broken, you are building. You're not behind, you're being aligned. And you're not lost, you're just being redirected. So trust it, own it, and walk in it, and watch what happens. If this feels like truth, subscribe, stay anchored, and I've got more for you. Okay? Like always, I just want to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.